Do you feel abandoned? When did you find out that you were adopted? Do you hold any resentment towards your birth mother? Hey, my name is Ryan Jon and I am an adopted child. On other places on my page here, you can see me laughing, crying, and telling all sorts of stories about being adopted and finding my biological family. But today, I'm gonna be answering questions from birth mothers. So an adopted child answering questions from birth mothers. Obviously, my answers might be different to other adoptees, but I thought that this might help give some insight or some clarity, or maybe people are just curious about a few things. So here we go. Do you have any resentment whatsoever about your birth mother giving you up for adoption? Be honest. Short answer, no, never. And I know all the Hollywood movies imply that we're all angry and need answers, but for me, it's not the case at all. But there's actually a really great answer on my Facebook page from a lady named Becky Summers, and I think she sums it up really well. So this is what Becky said. I'm adopted and I've never met my birth mother, and I can honestly say I have never resented her, not one day. I had a beautiful home, I was spoiled, had a ton of friends, lots of fun, and my family was wonderful to me always. My birth mother did what she had to do, and I've had a great life. Simple as that. And I can honestly say, from the thousands of adoptees I've spoke to, that's about 98% of the adoptees think that way. So thanks, Becky. You said it better than I could. Will my biological daughter feel like she wasn't good enough, or that I didn't want her, or that I didn't like her? This is a very common question from birth mothers that they're thinking to themselves, or that sometimes they're put in groups. And the answer is no, because it's not really about the adopted child. No baby is born with a grudge. It's about the birth mother's current situation, whether they're in a position to give a child a good life. It's really about them, and I think most adoptees respect that and don't take it personally, even though it seems like it would be the most personal thing. Like I said, no baby is born with a grudge, or that, oh, they don't like me. Who hates babies, really? Did you want to know the details of your birth mum's life and her choices? Yes, although to be honest, I went 30 years not really worried about it, and I'm still not worried, but you're definitely curious, because like I said before, it's about the birth mother's choices, the situations they were in, and not that you agree or disagree, but I think there's a genuine curiosity about why, and just it helps us understand our story, I guess. How do you feel about the mum that adopted you? I'm considering adopting in the future. Okay, so how do I feel about my mum? Well, she's my mum, but let me ask her. So why are you complaining?
Because I need to put lipstick on, and because I look pale without colour on my face.
All right, go on then.
Better now.
Feel better now?
Better now.
Okay. How do I feel about you?
You?
Yeah.
Like any son would about their mother.
Which is?
You appreciate me. You better. You love me.
Yep.
I'm your mum. That's just as plain as it is.
And what do you think about me?
Oh, you're pretty incredible, really.
Oh, I thought you were going to say I'm annoying.
You are bloody annoying. I come in and the dishes are on, they haven't been washed. Anyway, that's just you.
I'm happy to reconnect with my biological daughter, but it would be on a friendship level though. Is this a smart move? I don't feel like I deserve to be called her dad or try to be her dad, as I've never been there for her. That's a good question, and a common question as well, because I think expectations really get the better of people, especially when, what will my birth child expect? What will my birth mother expect? So it's as simple as, I guess, just having no expectations. When I met my birth father, there was no expectation that he was going to become my dad. I already have a dad. There was no expectations of how often we were going to meet or what we'd call each other. We just caught up and hung out, and with no expectations, it didn't really matter, I guess, and that would be my advice. My former employers probably spitting out their coffee because I had a lot of high expectations at work, and I would be surprised to hear me say don't have any expectations, but that would be my advice. And maybe you get along really well and you go from friends to feeling like family, or maybe you just meet up and connect and go your separate ways. But I think having low or no expectations will definitely be a good idea. My sister adopted my biological daughter. Right, my sister adopted my biological daughter. She knows her adoption story, suitable for her age, but I was wondering if it's easier knowing straight away that she is adopted. I would say yes, 100%. An adopted child should know they're adopted the whole time. And I actually spoke to someone who has a 12-month-old, so the baby is clearly too young to understand anything, especially that, but he tells her every day. And the point of this is that one day the daughter won't find out, but it's just a part of their story. And I think that's another place where movies get it wrong, is that adopted children find out or are finally told, or there's a big reveal. But the reality is you just always know, and it's just part of your story. Like, no one remembers how they started to breathe. It just is. My biggest fear is that the parents that I placed my child with will not be good parents. So my question would be, are your parents good parents? Well, my parents are great parents, but obviously that's going to be different for every family. But just on that note, lots of people ask different variations of that same question. So many birth mothers are curious and so hopeful that the child they placed into adoption had a great life. And I know a lot of birth mothers have this fear that they'll be judged as, selfish and they don't care and they push them aside. But the fact that so many people ask that question and so many people care so much about where their child is proof that birth mothers are great people and great empathetic people that do actually care for their child. And the reason they placed them into adoption in the first place is because they care so much. Not because they don't care, but they care so much about the environment that child is raised in, that they're prepared to sacrifice their time with them. I can't state that enough, that it is the ultimate selfless act and something really beautiful to do. So, valid question. My family is great. My parents are great. Hopefully that's the answer for your children as well. Do you think of your birth mother on your birthday? Yes. 2 main days, maybe 3, no, 2 main days. Mother's Day, birthday, sometimes Christmas, or big occasions, if that makes sense. Because I always think that on my birthday, my birth mother would be aware that it's my birthday, because she obviously gave birth to me that day. It would be sort of etched in her mind and would probably be a really difficult day for her. And I guess on my birthday, I'm also aware of that, which I didn't realize till recently, but I've never been a big one to celebrate my birthday. I like to just push it under the rug or not worry about it. Never had big parties or anything like that. And I think that's actually one of the reasons why, because it's, it's good to celebrate yourself and have a dinner with friends and family, but it's also a weird day that I often don't feel as a celebration, but as a day that, some really tough decisions and a lot of emotions were had. So yeah, birthdays, Mother's Day, a bit of a mixed one for me. Have you ever felt abandoned or rejected? Literally never. Never. It's so strange, and that's not, I don't know, ego or macho or defiance. It's just, no. Like I said before, I think the decision is about the birth mother's situation, and it really had nothing to do with me. I highly doubt that any mother was planning to keep a child. Then they look at them and go, oh, this guy's a jerk. I don't think that's the case. It's obviously not. So I just don't take it personally. It's not really about me. So have I felt rejected or abandoned? No. And especially as I've got a great family and lots of cousins. My cousin's actually asleep in my room at the moment while I'm filming this. So no, never at all. As you have grown up with your adopted family, do you feel like you're one of them? Absolutely. And I hadn't even considered that I wouldn't until reading that, to be honest. But like I said, my cousin's actually staying with me at the moment. So when she wakes up, and she's going to hate this because she would have just woken up and look like she's just woken up. But when she does, I'll ask her. Someone asked me if everyone in my family feels like I'm part of the family.
Right. Why? I'm on night shift. I just woke up.
So I wanted to finish this video with some really wise words, but I couldn't sum it up any better than Anne Rochford did. She sent me a message and I think it's great, so I'm just going to read it. She says, I have 2 amazing adopted children aged 27 and 24. We reconnected with their birth mothers and their families when they were teenagers, and it was wonderful for everyone. You can never have too much love, says Anne. The one thing that bothers me is that most birth mothers are not celebrated or honored or revered by society. You meet so many people who might tell you they're adopted, but have you ever met a person that told you, I'm a birth mother? Probably not. There might be shame, or they might fear questions like, how could you give away your baby? I don't really know the answer, but I want to shout from the rooftops that my children's birth mothers are my heroes. They did for me what no doctor could do. They made me a mother, and I can never thank them enough for that. And finishes by saying, I wish birth mothers were recognized for their amazing act of courage. Like I said, I can't say it much better than that. Thanks, Anne, for messaging that through. And for birth mothers watching, just know that that's how 95% of adoptees feel. They feel like their birth mothers are their heroes. They brought them into this world. That's how I feel about my birth mother. She brought me into this world and made a really selfless decision to give me a great life, and I could never thank her enough for that. And in terms of my mum, she was the same. For more than a decade, she tried to become a mother, IVF multiple times, and my birth mother did for my mum what no doctor could do. So to birth mothers watching, thank you so much. Please give this video a share, because I feel like this is a stigma that needs to be broken. I think it's time we stop thinking or assuming that adoptees are angry and need answers, because most of them don't. Most of them just want to say thank you. Simple as that. I've got some exciting news about my adoption story. That's coming up soon. So if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure you do that, and I'll chat to you soon.